So you have some land and you want to sell part of it because you want to make some money, right? In this video, I'm going to talk about how to sell part of your land. All right, so we've all heard the horror stories of where 100 years ago, Grandpa went out and just sold an acre or two of the 100-acre farm, right? Well, we can no longer do that with our current zonings, our regulations, our planning, and our zonings, because a lot of times there's our planned unit developments or PUDs, and the city has like actual uses of each parcel of land. Sometimes it's agriculture use, sometimes it's residential use, and sometimes depending on the R rating or the R, whatever it is, R1, 2, or 3, some cases 4, it's different in parts of the country. However, they have certain uses already established for this land. So the first place I recommend you going when you're looking to sell part of your land is start with your county assessor's office and ask to make an appointment with the planner of the day or the planning and zoning department. Sometimes you have to make an appointment, sometimes they'll give you this information right over the phone, but it's the best place to start out when figuring out if you could sell part of your land. So some of the questions that the planning and zoning department are going to ask you is, hey, what's the assessor's property number or APN? Some counties call it a folio number. Some counties call it a schedule number. So don't be confused by the actual language, because it's amazing how things are different from county to county to county all over this United States. So you're already on the right step by watching a video just like this, because I've done this multiple times and you gotta be very careful. I didn't sell part of the land, I purchased larger plots and did what's called a subdivide to sell off smaller portions of land. So for instance, I did a 27-acre parcel and we turned it into 3 properties. Each one was 9 acres, 9, 18, 27. But to do this, we had to start with the property appraiser and then the county planning and zoning. They told us the steps we would have to take. They gave us this huge packet of paperwork, showed us all these fees, and then the next step was we had to get a surveyor. We got a surveyor to go out and figure out like what the meets and the bounds were, where the property markers were, and figure out exactly how to break this 27 acres up into 9-acre parcels. Now it's funny because all over this area, it's a 5 by 5 mile radius area for the PUD, the PUD, the property use department. They actually put a lot of these properties into 1.25 acre parcels. But I was on a certain part of this 5 by 5 mile square that was still considered agriculture, not residential. So the lowest I could take one of my parcels of land was 8.5 acres because, oh my gosh, I thought I can get this 27 acres down to 1.25 acre parcels. Some of these 1.25 acre parcels were selling for $30,000 plus. So I'm buying this land for 140, 27 acres for 140,000. I'm thinking of all the numbers. I'm like, holy cow, I'm gonna sell these for 30,000 a lot. I'm gonna get multiple of them. Well, no, I wasn't able to do that according to the planning and zoning department. So I got the surveyor, and the surveyor went out there and surveyed the land and gave me now 3 legal descriptions for 3 different parcels of land. And it all came from that 127-acre parcel of land. Now it's in 3 legal descriptions, which are 3 different parcels of land, 3 different addresses, 3 different assessor's parcel numbers. It's now 3 properties. Now, while simultaneously getting the survey, I had to pay for a soils engineer report. And all this is a fancy word for a guy going out there and looking to see where the wetlands were for the property. Now, out of this whole entire 27 acres, less than 10% of this property, 2.7 acres, less than 2.7 acres were wetlands, and we were not allowed to touch it. We got very lucky because the areas where the wetlands were, where there was actually kind of man-made ditches, which I'm pretty sure man made those wetlands, but we didn't fight it because we still had plenty of land to allow on each 9-acre parcel to build a house in the best spot. The wetlands were kind of towards the back, which is no problem. We just were not allowed to touch them. Now, we could have went in and purchased wetland credits. However, sometimes those credits cost way more than the land itself. We were not worried about that. So we got the survey, we got the wetland study or the engineer study to make sure. But another step you want to take is make sure that there's no endangered species on the land. You know, ask about that. Ask who goes and checks that, because I would hate for someone to go in and start, renovating the land or cutting into the land or digging up the dirt and they disturb a gopher tortoise mound or a bald eagle nest, you want to be very careful about that because that could cost you big time money when developing land. All right, now that you've got your subdivide to go through to be able to sell a part of your land, now you want to know what the land is actually going for. Let's just say that you took a 5-acre parcel and you cut out 1 acre, and now you're looking at a 1-acre parcel. Now I want you to go to a place called Zillow.com or Redfin.com and look at what has sold. Look at the land that has sold for 1 acre in your county in the last 3 to 6 months. I want you to look at all these 1-acre parcels very close to where you're at. I generally like to be about 1 mile to 2 miles max from where my land is located. And I want to look at what 1-acre parcels are going for. Let's just say 5-acre parcels are going for, $50,000 and 1-acre parcels are going for $15,000. Well, if you're going to sell 1 acre, that looks like you can now sell that 1 acre for $15,000. Now this is just a general example, but you want to go to Zillow.com or Redfin.com and do that. Another thing you can do is figure out while you're looking at Zillow.com and Redfin.com, when you're looking at all the 1-acre parcels that have sold in your county or within a couple miles of your land, I want you to also note who is listing all this land and who is bringing the buyer, which is called bought by or buyer's agent. I want you to keep writing these down or copying and pasting. And if you notice, John Smith keeps popping up. He's popped up 10 times. Mary Johnson has popped up 1 time. Sam Smith has popped up 3 times. Well, I'm gonna call the guy or the girl that pops up more times than not because that's probably your land sales specialist or your land specialist real estate agent. And that person also can tell you about what this land would sell for or what you could sell your land for. Next, you want to take high quality, high resolution videos and photos and drone footage. How do you find someone to do that? Well, that land specialist realtor can help you, or maybe you're not interested in using a realtor because you don't want to pay the commission, whatever it is. We'll call these realtors that are listing this land. If you notice they've got beautiful photos or beautiful videos or drone footage, and call them and say, hey, I'm looking to sell some land, or hey, I'm looking to get some photos of my land. Would you be willing to share with me who the photographer is that takes the photos of the land that you're selling or that land that you have listed? A lot of times they're happy. They're happy to share who's doing a good job for them. All right, I got a few more strategies on how to sell a part of your land. But before I do, smash that red subscribe button and thank you so much. It's like leaving a tip for your server or your waitress that's done a great job. If you smash that subscribe button, I'll see it as a tip left to me for bringing you this amazing content. I do this 5 days a week. Thank you so much. All right, I want to talk about some free places that you can sell part of your land now that you figured out how to actually legally do it. One of my favorite free places to do it is putting it on Facebook.com. Facebook buy sell groups and putting it on Facebook Marketplace. Let's start with Marketplace first. When you're posting raw vacant land on Marketplace, you actually have to post it as an item. And that item, I want you to put in that description and that title saying this is raw vacant land, 4 acres of raw vacant land, 1 acre of raw vacant land. Because it's not a house for sale, it's not a house for rent, and you want to be very specific on what you're selling there. It's also going to ask you for a condition, which is kind of cool, but I always like to say my land is in great condition because it is. You cannot ruin land unless you put hazardous waste on it or something like that, but that can be cleaned off as well. So Facebook Marketplace. The next is Facebook buy sell groups. I love Florida land. I love Arizona land. I love Colorado land. But let me tell you where we sell a lot of our Arizona and our Florida land, and that is the people sitting in Michigan and Wisconsin and Canada. Not so much Canada, but I'm just using examples of cold weather places. Michigan and Wisconsin during the wintertime, they get something called snow, and it's really annoying after about 6 months of it, and they see your sunny Florida photos or your Arizona properties for sale in their buy-sell groups in Michigan. Guess who's buying my land in Florida and Arizona? People in Michigan, because they saw it in buy-sell groups. These are free ways to sell a part of your land. And I got one more final thought for you, and that is talk to your neighbors. Put a sign in the front of that land, say 1 acre for sale, will finance, whatever it takes. Talk to your neighbors because maybe your neighbor wants to buy some more land for themselves. All right, maybe you don't want to do all this stuff. Maybe you're like, oh my God, I wish you would have gave me the easy button. Well, I'm gonna give you the easy button right now. It's gonna be on your screen, and that is ZechBuysLand.com. We buy land all over the country. I want you to click that link, go to our site, fill out the information. We'd love to talk to you more about it. And if you don't buy it, we'd be happy to maybe point you somewhere else or a better direction or give you some guidance on how to sell it.